beer tubers, welcome back to Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews. Here tonight with a beer from Petit Saut. This came out, I can't remember when this came out. I think came out in 2015. But this is from Brasserie de Petit Saut up in Edmundston, New Brunswick, up on the border, by the border of Quebec and New Brunswick. This is La Kedgwick Pilsner, which is 5% ABV. This is their answer to a German style, or actually I think it's more of a Czech style Pilsner. Anyway, looking at the label, it says lightly hopped European style lager that is crisp as the early morning rise of an Atlantic salmon, as cool as the Kedgwick River rapids, and as clear as the moon over the forks. Yeah. IBUs 31, the SRM is 4, alcohol by volume is 5% ABV. Brewed with water, malted barley, hops, and yeast, as a traditional German purity law beer should be properly made. Whatever. Let's crack the top off of this one. So it's been a while since I had originally tried to do this review. Actually, I think when it first came out, I remember buying one of these bottles in one of the non-labeled packages, like the 6-pack that doesn't have anything other than just Petit Saut's porcupine logo, which you can see right here on this sexy glass that I got. But yeah, so I'm finally getting around to taking a look. I haven't been the best at getting at new beers in New Brunswick in the last couple of years. Sorry about that. Anyway, looking at that, spot on Czech style Pilsner. Has that golden brassy kind of look. Bright white head. Nice amount of carbonation coming up through the center of the glass. Looks pretty. Let's give it a whiff. Grassy, lemony, peppery. Maybe just a touch of cardboard. It's a little dry. I was expecting maybe a little bit more of a sweeter note to it from the Pilsner malt that they use. It's kind of a sugary kind of malt. But overall, it's kind of like lemon pepper. Very inviting smell. I mean, you gotta take in consideration of all the beers that, like most of what Petit Saut makes is like Belgian style, or Quebec style Belgian kind of inspired ales, given their the region and their history. But when it comes to this one, it's their standard drinking lager stuff for the people who don't want to get too edgy to drink. If they they want to feel like they fit in, they're drinking a beer from a local brewery, or they're drinking a beer from a craft brewery, but ones that that are more palatable to people who aren't used to drinking big hop bombs, or big yeast bombs, or big malt bombs. And honestly, this one really smells like an acceptable beer. So let's hurry up and put this thing down the hatch. Cheers. Oh yeah. A little bit of toasted grain coming up in the back. It's definitely a toasted barley though. The hops, it's got to be, I don't know if they use Saaz. Saaz tends to be a bit more pepperier than this. They at least use something like a Hallertau. I'm only guessing. It does have that characteristic herbal, earthy kind of taste as a noble hop would have. And of course that doesn't necessarily mean they use noble hops. It's just hops of that character. Definitely a European or Bohemian or German style hop. And a bit of the there is a bit of sweetness, but it's also quite drying. And I am getting tastes of the lemon. Let's see. Yeah. Bits of the lemon, bits of like fruit cake, bits of sweet malt, toasted grain, and the barest, thinnest of slivers of a little bit of cardboard, which is kind of like a papery, resiny kind of residue left in the back of the throat, which kind of makes me think that maybe they used a partial amount of hop extract rather than straight up hops. But I mean, only the brewmasters there would know for sure. Like, maybe they never used extracts. Maybe they used extracts to keep the cost down on this particular beer. But either way, this is really nice. With the recent drop of quality I've experienced the last time of drinking a can of Steam Whistle off camera. And I remember Steam Whistle, oh, I loved that when I first had that because it was like a spot-on clone of like Pilsner Urquell. But this one is a very, very solid Pilsner style beer. I'd say that this thing, they did their homework on this one and made it a solid, convincing Pilsner that every craft beer aficionado will at least give a decent rating to Piz, because it's spot on for the style. I think that as far as, you know, a Belgian, or not a Belgian, sorry, slip of the tongue, as far as like either competing with like a German Pilsner or a Czech Pilsner, this thing stands right up there. Maybe it's not your quite up as high as like a Czech Var or a Pilsner Urquell, but it's at least as good, if not better, than Warsteiner. Actually, that's not saying much, because it is way better than Warsteiner, but you get the idea where I'm trying to get here. Even if I'm not making sense at all, that this particular beer is solid, and it's right up there with Pilsner Urquell and Czech Var. In that same vein, anyway. I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Definitely an 80%, or well, with my rating system, I often think of 4 out of 5 as being an A or an A minus. So it's really more than 80%. But yeah, like 8 out of 10. Highly rated. There's better out there, but you can't get much better than this. I'm rambling now. Thank you for listening to my rambling. 4 out of 5. If you're in New Brunswick and you want to try a decent lager, Le Kedgwick is definitely it. Anyway, thanks for watching Maxwell Star Beer Review of Le Kedgwick from Petit Saut. We will talk to you folks later. Cheers.